Hi, today I want to talk about the online romance dating site schemes that are out there. Um, my name's Don, and I live in Las Vegas, Nevada area. I am 62 years old, and I am fortunate enough to be married to a Ukraine lady that is 20 years younger than myself. We have a 17-year-old daughter, and we have a 3-year-old boy now. Yes, we will be coming up on our ninth year of marriage here in November. And you're probably asking, how did you do that? Do I feel like a lucky son of a bitch? Yes, I do. I very much feel lucky. Um, it wasn't an easy road. It's not a path for the weak. You better have a backbone and be ready for a tough journey. But I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it's well worth it. So let's dive into the subject here a little bit. Um, I was fortunate enough where I was actually saved from all these online dating sites. In fact, when I got divorced, at the time I was living in Hawaii. I'm like most guys, I'm broken. I don't know what to do. I try to, what happened, what went wrong. You're just down in the dumps, and I think any guy that's gone through this probably tell you that you feel the same way. And it's just I know life's funny. My story's kind of unique. I mean, like I said, I had no clue as to online dating sites whatsoever. I had no idea they even existed. And it's just I would just work all the time, and then Sundays I'd take my time and go visit one of the beautiful beaches we have in Hawaii, and just as fate would have it, as luck would have it, however you want to however you want to describe it. One day, here comes the three beautiful blonde girls, and they happened just to sit down right by me. And, I'm listening to them talk, and I kind of I don't understand really what language it is. I had kind of maybe a rough idea, maybe it's Russian, but I wasn't sure. So I just thought, heck, I just asked. I says, do you ladies speak English? And two of them looked at me and said, yes, we speak English. And so that's how I got introduced to Ukraine ladies. And actually, the one that didn't speak English is the one that I actually, started a relationship with. And unfortunately, I mean, it didn't last. It didn't work out. But that's my experience of getting to Ukraine. That's the first time I went to see her twice, and then after that, it was my eyes were open to a whole new world. So anyway, I learned a lot along the way. I've seen a lot. I've been to Ukraine like 16 times, and I've spent probably on the average of 3 weeks each time I've been there. But my eyes got opened when I first got introduced to an online dating site in Ukraine. Now, this came by a couple girls that I met and in Ukraine, and they happened to be married to a couple really nice guys, And of course, they all spoke fluent English, and it was wonderful. I mean, it's like, wow, this is great. I don't have to worry about translations or anything like that. So let's see, I got a message here. Okay, hi. Anyway, these two girls are the ones that introduced me to probably the worst of the worst of dating sites, which was Anastasia Date. I had no idea the shit that goes on behind the scenes. It was unreal. But these two girls had taken me under their wing. I was like a big brother to them, and they were bound and determined to find me a girl in their area. And so I went to visit them one time. I spent 3 weeks with them, and this is where I got introduced to the site, and they actually built me a profile. And the whole idea was, okay, you go on here. If you find somebody that you like that's from our city, because we want you to find somebody in our area, because we know them. We'll know if they're good or bad. So if you find somebody that writes you, or you decide you want to write somebody, let us know first, and we'll tell you, if she's good, if she's bad, if we know her or not. In a small area, more than likely they pretty much knew everybody there. So anyway, while I was in the agency, this is where I got the education. Okay, so while I'm in the agency, I got to meet the manager, which happened to be friends of the two girls. And she says, if he's your friend, show him around, let him see how things are, and blah blah blah. So during the signing up and going through the whole site, of course I had questions, because I had no idea what any of this was about. In the agency itself, there was several desks, several computers. I think most of the time there's at least 6 people working. Sometimes there'd be a couple guys actually in there working, and I didn't think anything of it, because I realized that a lot of the work is done in translating letters. So I mean, I figured, okay, hey, if you understand English or another language, maybe, because there's a lot of people from, like Germany and other countries that also use these sites. So if you understand a language, you can translate from Russian to English or whatever, then sure, why not? Anybody can do that. So, I got to see how that worked. The next thing, my question was, well, what's this chat? What is this all about? And so I got an education on chat. Basically, it's whoever's at the desk, and these girls' profiles would stay up. I mean, some of them, if they're popular, they would be online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, you and I would never know that, because we're going to spend an hour or two at the computer, and then we're going to do our thing and go. And you have no idea that these girls are online 24 hours a day, and somebody else is actually doing the chatting for them. Okay, it's whoever happens to be there when somebody some guy comes in and wants to chat with this girl. So anybody can look in the system and see the history of what's been going on, and then they just kind of continue the conversation. It was mind-boggling to me. Are you kidding me? How can this happen? How it's just it's a huge, like, it just trick. I mean, it's like I was like, I couldn't believe it. I say it was unreal, just absolutely unreal. Um, it's and to boot, the other flip side of this is that so many of these girls, maybe these are old profiles and maybe didn't even exist anymore. Well, not exist, but let's say maybe they married already, or they were in a relationship and they weren't even using the site anymore. It didn't matter, as long as they were drawing attention, as long as guys kept writing letters, as long as they chatted and they were making money. It didn't matter. Married, not married, boyfriend, no boyfriend. It doesn't matter. They don't care. And some of these areas, when it's tough for the lady to find work. Well, this is a perfect way to draw some income. You put up a profile, you get a piece of the pie for letters, you get a piece of the pie for chat. If a guy happens to come wanting to see you, visit you, you get a piece of the pie of the translating services, going out to dinner. I mean, it's on and on and on and on. It's an ugly, ugly industry, and it's just. Don't go near Victoria's heart full of pig fork. But yes, I strongly agree with you. Sorry, I've met my wife on there already. Oh, congratulations. Was I looking for a wife? Yes. I mean, that was my intentions, especially after the first lady I'd met from Ukraine. After that, I knew that's what I wanted. I mean, it opened my eyes to a whole other world. So yes. Anyway, back to the inside workings of these places. It's like one gentleman here says, I found my wife there already. That's a rare instance. Okay, I mean, generally. You're going to find maybe one girl in 1,000 there that is there for the right reason, and we could basically call her a good girl, but it's far and few between. So, like, again, congratulations. I hope that works out for you. Yeah, the inside workings of these companies it's a money grab. It's all about you opening up your wallet. I mean, guys spend, well, thousands, millions a year supporting these sites. For instance, Anastasia Date, I think they posted last year $200 million profit. It was I think it was posted in Forbes magazine, so it's publicly put out there. And this is probably half of what they used to be 10 years ago, because guys are slowly catching on. You're slowly starting to understand that these agencies are not there to help you, that they don't give a shit about you. They don't care about your happiness. They don't care anything. It's yours or the ladies. It's all about dollars. That's what it comes down to. So, I mean, I'm going to share something with you that when I met my wife, it was through my friends, but she actually had a profile on Anastasia Date. She never had planned to do this. It was nothing she wanted to do, but her roommate worked for Anastasia Date at the time, and actually she worked for them for about 8 years. I'll get into that in a minute, but my wife got into it because she wanted the professional photo shoot, and which she did, and all her pictures were amazing. But the whole time she said she was on there, she said she never got one letter, never. And the lady that managed the office, which was in Odessa, told her that you're too serious. You have a child. You're just all these negative things to her. And she says, fine, take my profile off of here. I don't need to be on here, right? Of course, she never did, and my wife never. She didn't know this. She didn't know her profile hadn't been taken down. It was after we decided to get married, and we were going through all the process of visa and all that. I went with her down to the office and her friend, and we had the manager physically in front of us remove her profile. So, but back to her roommate, she, like I said, she spent 8 years working for Anastasia Date, and she made a killing. Let me tell you, she's a very popular girl. She's very pretty. She's like, that 5'7", perfect figure, platinum blonde hair, blue eyes. Guys just drool for her. And she, guys would send her $500 here, $500 there. All she said, you have to whine a little bit about, I'm having a problem with this. And guys would just send her money, euros, dollars. It didn't, she'd get it coming in from everywhere. Guys would want to meet her, take her on trips here, take her shopping, just spend the weekend with her. So she made enough money where she was able to buy a new flat in Ukraine, which it's nothing but bare walls. Okay, there's nothing in there. You get windows, you have a front door, but other than that, it's just bare. There's nothing. They run to about $20,000 roughly. And then she was able to afford the renovation for it. She paid cash for everything, and that cost her another, I think, $20,000 or $25,000 to have that done. So she was able to save roughly $45,000 just from gifts from guys, and she had no intention of marrying anybody. She if they got serious, she got rid of them, and even at a couple points when she worked for him, she had a boyfriend. She was living with the guy. And then later she got married to a guy, and she was still working with him, still doing this stuff. But he didn't care as long as she was making this money, and he didn't really have to do anything. He was okay with it, but didn't. I think they ended up having a child, and then he ended up leaving, like, I think a year later or something. And but this is what it's about. It's about dollars, and she was a perfect example of just how much money a girl can make working for that company, and especially if you're good looking and you're a very popular girl, which they're in Ukraine. There's several of them. So let's see, we got a few more. If they're new to the site, it may work for you. I want to chat Ukraine woman. Um, foreign affair. Is foreign affair a good site? In my opinion, no. I don't think any time when you take um, a group of guys, 10 to 15 guys, and you put them in a room with 300 ladies, um, that's a good thing. This is just my opinion. Okay, I think these giant socials that they call them, are they're just a big party. Okay, I know Anastasia date when they used to throw socials. If they couldn't get enough girls to come to the social, they just start handing out flyers out on the street. Hey, free party, free champagne, free hors d'oeuvres. Come and meet foreign man. They do whatever it took to fill that room, and but you're overwhelmed. I mean, it's like you're looking at like a 10-to-1 ratio. Okay, and I noticed like on you mentioned the foreign affair. I kind of I've watched a few of their social events, but I noticed like most of the guys seem to you know gravitate over to the younger girls, and the older ladies, the ones maybe in their late 30s and 40s, they kind of group together and are kind of ignored from what I see. I mean, I don't watch the whole video, but that's just kind of my observation that I was first noticing. But yeah, so I mean, um, I would shy away from that because for me it's just not um, my feeling is good girls don't go to these socials. I think if you asked a survey out on the street, like in Ukraine, hey, would you attend one of these? I think most the time you'd get from these girls it would be no. I think it's the same thing if you ask them about would you join a dating site. Most of them are going to say no. They all, most of them, the girls know that these, they're bad reputations and stuff like that. These sites have. So, um, bottom line, good girls don't attend social, and good girls don't join dating sites. That's bottom line. But you can do with that information what you want, because I said that's my opinion. Let's see, what else do we have? If they are new to the site, it may work for you. Again, new to the site, old to a site, what's the reason for being there? That's the question that only the girl knows. What's her reason for being in here? Is it legitimate, or she needs money? I mean, who knows? I mean, that's a crapshoot there. So it's again, it's let me just tell you from what I've seen from the inside. If you're writing letters, if you're doing chat, then there's 99% chance that this is a bad agency. You're being taken. Okay, bottom line. There's I know there's just no other way to put it. Let me tell you about live chat. Okay, because my friends showed me how that worked, and here again, it's a trick. So let's just say a guy wanted to do live chat. Okay, so they would contact the girl and see if she'd be interested to come in to the office for a short period of time, because live chat is very expensive. It's one of the most expensive services they offer. So a guy's not going to want to stay on there for a long period of time. Probably 15 minutes is max, because I mean, they said it's very expensive. Of course, her job is to keep you in communication, to keep you talking, and keep you spending that money. That's her job. So anyway, if the girl decides, okay, yes, I'll come in, because here again, she's going to make some good money today for coming in to the office. So they're taught to sit at the computer. The translator will be next to them, out of sight, out of camera view, and she will be telling them how to, when to smile, when to say, nod your head yes or no, because most instances, the girl's not going to be speak English. Even if they do, even if she does, they're not. Chances are they don't want to let you know this. Okay. So the girl in the camera will be, she'll look like she's typing, right? But she's doing nothing. It's the translator next to her who's doing the typing. Her job is just to look pretty, smile, bat her eyes at you, get your attention, and keep you on there as long as you can. And I saw this. Okay, I witnessed it with my own eyes. So it's not like, oh, come on, that's BS. No, I saw it. I watched it. It again, it was just amazing, But we get pulled into that. We get and it's, I don't know. I don't know if we call it like an addiction, or what the problem is, but why as guys get locked into a girl, and for some reason she just hypnotizes you, and you just can't help yourself. I don't get it, but it happens, and it happens to a lot of us. I mean, it's just the way it is. So guys just got to learn to educate himself on these sites. I mean, there's so many. What I don't understand is there's so many YouTube videos out there on the subject. There's so many. If you do a Google search on a company, and there's so many things they'll say. So and so scam, so and so scam. And if you read these things, it's like why would you, why in the fuck would you want to join this site? I mean, the guys are telling you, look, don't do it. This is what's happening. This is I've been taken for X amount of dollars. And usually it's not little amounts, guy I see constantly spending between 1 and 10,000. I know one guy who spent like up to 30,000, maybe it was more, and it's like, what did you get out of that? Nothing other than you set it at your computer, you typed letters, you did some chatting. What did you physically get out of that? And it's nothing. And then again, guys fall for this. The girl, okay, you're spending time, you're doing the letter writing, you're doing the chatting, but that can only go on for so long. Sooner or later, the subject comes up to, hey, I want to, let's meet. Okay. This is where it gets really ugly. Okay. and it's heartbreaking and sad situations. And in my 16 trips to Ukraine, I've witnessed 2 times where a guy came on his own to meet a girl that he met on a website, and she didn't show up. So here's this guy at the airport. He's waiting. He has no idea what to do. He's trying to call, no answer, nothing. I mean, and it's just the look on their face is just like, then I think they realize, well, I was taken. I believed her, I trusted her, I came here, and now she won't even answer. She didn't meet me at the airport. She didn't show up. She basically just disappeared out of sight, And so these guys, what do? They have a choice, stay the day, stay the night, continue trying to get a hold of her. And if it doesn't work, well, then what do? You book a flight, go back home, change your tickets, right? Or you spend a short time in the city and just kind of explore on your own. But that feeling in here, man, I can only imagine. I mean, it never happened to me, fortunately, but it happens. It happens a lot. So, it's like, guys, you got to be very careful in this area. It's like, what I suggest is like, you never want to go see a girl that you haven't spent some time with on Skype, her personal Skypes, okay? And you definitely want her to send you a photo of her passport. Her international passport is preferable, okay? Because this is the only way you can actually be sure that this girl is real, that this is a girl that you're actually talking to on this site. Because more than likely, on the other sites and stuff, it's not the girl. It's the translator that you're talking to. And you think she's going to show up and pick you up? Why would she? Her job is to pull money out of your wallet and trick you into, and to come into Ukraine, and what does she have to lose? Nothing. I mean, she doesn't care. So, you've got to learn to protect yourselves. We got a few more. Let's see. How about Go Date Now site? Do you know about this one? No, I've never heard of that one. Sorry. Let's see. Ask you this: is it possible to go over and meet a lady without going on any site? Yes, it's possible. I don't. Let's see. How do we say this? I mean, I don't advise going there alone your first time, because especially if you come from the United States let's just use that as a for this demonstration. Let's just say you're from the United States. Okay. Now you're going to a foreign country that mostly speaks Ukrainian language and Russian language. Okay. Now you're an American. You're already a target. All right. Everybody's going to know you're American. All right. So everybody's going to be trying to get into your wallet one way or another. You better be able to protect yourself. You better just stay in I would say like city center. Like say if you're going to go to Odessa, then I would stay in the city center areas where it's a lot. There's a lot of activity going on. There's a lot of people. Of course, there's lots to do there. The chances of anything bad happening to you in that area are pretty slim. You can usually find decent flats, for fairly decent price. You can usually book these things online, or like if you go to I'm trying to think of what do they call those hotels, like booking.com. Okay, you can find some really killer deals there. But the first time, it's going to be scary for you. It's going to be, you're a fish out of water. So, but I think if you're willing to take the chance, sure. I mean, go ahead, do it. It'll get easier each time you go. Try to learn the language. I would suggest learn the Russian language, because it's spoken all over the country. Even though some areas rather speak Ukrainian, and others areas would like to speak Russian language, but it's understood everywhere. But just enough so to help you get around. But there's, depending on your age group, you can go to down to like in Odessa, you can go down to Arcadia. There you've got 2 or 3 really hot party scene disco areas. They're popular beach Ibiza and Ithaca. So they're very popular beach resorts. During the day, they're just full of people swimming, sunbathing, this and that. And at night, it turns into just a big party. It's all dancing, like disco club, and just people partying, drinking, having a good time. Yeah, you can. You might be lucky enough to meet somebody there, but is she going to be a good girl? That's the tough part. That's out of everything is how from a bad girl, how do you find a good girl? In my opinion, if big city girls are taught to be more independent, they're more aggressive, they're more likely to fall into scams, and be okay with that. This is just big city girl life. You go outside the cities to the smaller cities and villages, where they don't have these websites. Most of them don't. I mean, it's usually the big cities that have these bad sites. So if you go into the smaller areas, your likelihood to find a good girl is, the scale goes way up. So, you can visit these smaller cities and villages during the day, and then just go back to your where you feel comfortable at night. But yes, so to answer your question, yes, if you wanted to try going on your own, absolutely. Let's see. I think it cost many dollars for a tour. My God, $5,000. $5,000 for a tour. Yeah. Yes, it's, I guess you can look at it 2 ways. Okay, so every time I flew to Ukraine on my own, it would cost me roughly $8,000. Okay, I would spend 3 weeks. So flights, hotel, having a good time, taking taxi like down to Moldova and Transnistria to see my friends. I mean, and just to make sure, I didn't have to worry about money. I figured it cost me 8,000. So if you look at a tour or where it's 5,000 and you're going for 2 weeks, you're in with a group of guys, that's really it's not a bad deal. Not at all. So I think if you went on your own, that you would spend that plus. So plus you're not going to have any support also. So just remember, it's there's a difference there. These getting full support, being helped out, having somebody to answer all your questions and concerns, it's hard to put a number on that, but so I don't think $5,000 is bad at all. Okay, they should have more than one woman lined up to meet. If that would have 4 women to meet, one of those women might show up. There again, that's questionable. Yes, I mean, yeah, your odds are better because that's now you have a 4-1 chance that somebody might show up. I know, like if you went with like let's just say match guarantee, where they can line up 10 dates for you, and these women are guaranteed to show up. I mean, they will be there, and unless of course it was some kind of circumstances, but they would let you know and reschedule that date. But with them, what I've noticed is that the girls will show up. I mean, they schedule those dates for you, and you can go on 1 a day, 2 a day, whatever you want to do during that 2-week period. So your chances like that are really good to be successful. Let's see. And we're using Dreams agents went for paying for per letter video chats. Please provide your views and feedbacks. Okay. Yeah. So here again, your UA Dreams agency. So here again, you're talking about an agency that's only doing letters and chatting. You got to realize a lot of like Anastasia's dates. Okay, they have a lot of affiliates. Okay, they share their girls with one another, so they actually work all together. So you call Anastasia date the mothership. Okay, and these are just the little pawns out there, that feed the mothership. Anastasia Date has a lot of different affiliates under a lot of different names. So, but here again, you're talking about writing letters. You're talking about doing chat. So again, I'm telling you, if you're doing that, you're 99% chance to get taken. It's a scam. It's not a good site. Stay away. If we guys start educating ourselves, we start learning, we can slowly get these sites to go away, because if we're not feeding them, they'll disappear. But guys got to start getting smarter about this. I mean, yes, it's changed over 10 years. I even know, the two Anastasia offices that I visited and that I got educated on, they no longer exist. And the reason why is because they both told me, and I know the managers personally. Okay, So they both told me it was lack of men. They didn't have the volume anymore like they used to. So they had to close them up. Great, perfect. That's what we want to hear. I love it when I heard that. I felt bad for them because that was their livelihood for so many years. But you know what? It's a dirty business. So eventually, all things come to an end. So um, um, that's just what we need to do is educate each other, talk about things like this, share your information with each other. Um, do whatever you can just to get the word out there that, got to stay away from these bad agencies, because that's all they are. They're just bad. So, anyway, I think I pretty much have covered everything that I wanted to talk about. There's a few more questions here. Let's see. As a tourist, is it easy to meet good Ukrainian girls at different tourist places across Kyiv or any other city and start dating girls that you can run into in marriage? Yeah, I mean, sometimes just like just being out, just walking around. If you're not afraid to approach girls, if you're confident and you carry yourself well, and you're not afraid to just go up and introduce yourself. A lot of girls, especially in Kyiv, it's a big city, and a lot of girls there understand English, conversational English. So you do okay. So I mean, anything's possible. It happens to guys. Yeah, sure. They'll just say, I was in Ukraine and I was there for this reason, and I met this girl, and and happily ever after. So yeah, so it's possible for sure. Let's see what else we have here. Did you say what age range you were dating? My feed hookup. No, I'm going to do another video on the age gaps and where a guy should stay. But no, but what I did mention is, for me, my wife is 20 years younger than I am, and it's not what you would call normal. I mean, again, I got lucky, and it's nothing that really her and I ever had concerns about. We had met, and it just there was that spark, there was that energy, there was that magic, and nothing else matters. So I mean, I know there's guys with even wider age groups than that, but it's very uncommon. And contrary to what guys have been told about Ukraine girls, they don't care how old you are. I mean, you can be twice their age or even more. It's not true, because what you're looking at is girls that are we call them opportunists. Okay, so if you're an older guy, and especially if she's in her 20s to even early 30s, and she sees you have something to offer, good life, you have a lot of money, of course she's going to see you as an opportunity. Okay, my suggestion is that you stay in kind of a 10-year age gap area, and that's very common, very, very common, and I think you'd do a lot better. But again, I'm going to do a video on the age gap difference, and share what I know about that on another stream. Okay, let's see here. We have, do the young women really like older men with 25 years age gap? There again, no. That's again, that's a misconception. The girls don't want that big of age gap. They don't. I mean, if there's always a hidden agenda. Okay, you got to realize these girls are young. They're not even ready to settle down themselves, and so, like I said, if they see an opportunity, um, if they can get you to spend money on them, buy them gifts, take them on trip, okay, great. They're willing to do that, but it's a short-term thing. The likelihood that anything serious would ever come out of that, is slim to none. So um, there is okay, I don't. Oh, there is a perception most Ukraine girls prefer Americans or Western Europe men. Is this true? Do Asian men have any chance of dating good girls? I'm going to say, yeah, yes, the Ukraine girls, they do kind of lean more towards the American and European, Australian, but you know what? I've seen a lot of girls dating Asian men when I've been in Ukraine, so it's not unpopular. It's in fact, there's a girl in Kyiv that does a YouTube video, and she talks about this. If you can find her site, but no, there's a lot of the Ukraine girls, they don't mind Asian men. I would say you have just as good a chance as anybody else. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like we've kind of run out of questions here. Let's see. Do Ukrainian women you actually meet and Skype with scam? That depends on how you met them. How did you meet them on Skype? Okay, usually when you're going to be Skyping with a woman from Ukraine, it's because you've met her, you know who she is, you guys have exchanged information, and now you're willing to have this, the Skype to build a relationship. Okay, it's but if you just meet a girl on Skype, like she's out there trolling and you happen to pick her up and she's like, oh, I'm from Ukraine, I would say you be very, very careful, because it may start out like really like, oh, this is really great, she's really nice, but I guarantee you there's a hidden agenda. Eventually there's going to be a story where I need money, can you help me? So like I said, there again, how did you meet her? How did you find her on Skype? If she's somebody you had met and exchanged and agreed to talk on Skype, that's a whole different subject versus somebody out there just trolling and hitting you on Skype. And I mean, because that happens all the time. You see girls dinging in, they want to add you to Skype, but usually they're all there for a reason, usually to get you to come to another site for like a sex site that they happen to be part of. So be very careful as far as that goes. Let's see. I've met her family. Okay, well that's great. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you've met her family and you're here now going out with her. Okay. Well, see, it sounds to me like you guys have, you've established a relationship, or you're working towards one. So, just take it easy, watch yourself, just kind of listen to your heart, listen to what's in your head, and hopefully things work out for you. Let's see here. Let's see, second time to Ukraine. Okay, great. From all the visits to Ukraine, have you found more success in one particular city more than any other city? I have spent most all of my time in Odessa. I, I love Odessa. It's kind of what I call my second home. If I can convince my wife to ever go back, when it's time for me to like retire, let's just say, uh, I would live there in a heartbeat. I love that city. I love everything about it. It's for me. It's just it's my soul city, I guess, is what I would call it. So and I've been to Kiev a few times. Kiev's a nice city, but I mean, Odessa's it's just everything for me. I've been to Nikolai, I've been to Kherson, and then also in Moldova, I've been to Chisinau, I've been to the Transnistria region, Tiraspol. And that's another city well, I like it there. It's very small. The ratio to what men and women there is 8-1. So I mean, it as far as girls, they're everywhere. But then again, it's like, okay, who's good, who's bad? Um, let's see. Okay, how many dates require, or how many times should someone travel to Ukraine to win her heart of the girl? That's just going to depend on you and your girl. When my wife and I first met, it was like, it was our first date. We just, it was just, I don't know, how do you explain it? You just know, okay. I knew in my heart, she knew in her heart. And, I had dated other girls in Ukraine and in Moldova, and they were all in that. I don't know, for some reason, it was 30 was just the age group that I attracted. And you just, yeah, it was fun, and you had a good time, and but it wasn't, there just wasn't that magic. But when you when here, you feel it, you'll know. And so it's how many times, that's anybody's guess. I mean, it could take you, first time like me, it could take you 5 times, 10 times. I that's just an individual thing there. Let's see. How come they do not want to talk about date past and listen to each other? Sure, Ukrainian women do not like to talk about their past. Why? Usually their pasts are not very pleasant. I know for my wife, I can tell you she didn't like to really talk about her past either. I know and when she finally did decide to tell me, but this is like you've got to really have their trust. It's like these are things they usually only tell their closest girlfriends, and so you really need to have earned the trust for them to really want to open up and share their past. It's not easy for them, but all I can tell you is when the timing's right, and they'll share with you. It's just they're just not gonna go out on the first dates and stuff and just tell you their whole life story. Ukraine girls are very private. So different culture, different different mentality and stuff. So just be patient, and hopefully she'll open up to you sometime. I mean, you can always try to start with you first. You share your past and kind of see if she wants to share a little bit of hers, but don't expect too much at first. It'll take time. Let's see. What city in the U.S. would you compare Odessa or Kiev to? Um, gosh, I can't, okay, because there's so big a difference when you look at the architectural structures of these buildings. Um, these cities they're old, there's so much history in them. There's so much beauty. Um, I can't compare them to any city in the U.S. because it's just nothing compares. It's just you have to see it for yourself, and then you'll understand what I'm saying, because it's just um, it's amazing. You wonder, like, I mean, I have I'm a contractor by trade, realtor also, and I um, I look at these structures and these buildings and these opera theaters and these things, and it's like they're old buildings, and you look at the work and you go, how did they have the talent, or how did they put these things together at that time? It's amazing. Um, and they try to do a really good job of keeping the buildings up to date, keeping them in relatively good shape, so people can enjoy them. But yeah, I can't compare it with anybody, any city in the United States. Let's see. Do current generation Ukraine girls like to work after marriage or prefer to be a housewife? Are they open to accept culture of other country? Um, you know, Ukraine girls are very educated. Okay, they're very self-sufficient. They're not afraid of hard work, because believe me, they work a lot of hours for the small salary they get. So when they are not afraid of cultural changes. They adapt very well. Most of them are going to want to maybe continue their education, or they're going to want to seek some kind of outside the home employment. They like earning their own money. They like helping support the family. Now, when they have a child, of course, they really like to be with that child through the first, like, 3 years, probably, until they start preschool. They're very nurturing. They really, family is the most important to them, and they really um, care about family first. So that's kind of what I can tell you about that. Um, okay, the point I want to know is, having kids at an older age is not okay with them. Okay, so again, I'm going to be 62 September. My wife is 21 years old, younger than myself, and we have a 3-year-old son. So she started a little bit late. She would have been 37, I think, when we got pregnant with our 3-year-old boy. So that just again, it just depends on the girl, and it depends on you, how that works out. For us, it was fantastic. He's a healthy, beautiful little guy, and he's going to be fortunate to have 2 languages in his life, and he's going to have the chance of knowing 2 cultures. So it's pretty cool. I absolutely love it. So um, yeah, if they would only do as well with roads, yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. The point I want to know was, okay, let's see, is there any there was a pothole the size of a small car. It's a nice mall in Odessa this winter. Yeah, I, we're hoping with the change of government, a lot of these things will change because the past administration didn't. They talked, but they did nothing. Um, they're just there seems to be no money for repairs, and when there is money for repairs, it depends on who hands gets into, because they could give a certain amount, and by the time that money gets to where it's supposed to get, there may only be 50% left in that pot for doing that work, or less. I mean, everybody seems to grab, uh, out of that pile of money, and pretty soon there's not even enough to do the work, and it's sad, but hopefully that'll change. Zelensky seems to be good at his word right now. He's trying to one of the things he wants to clean up is the corruption. That's going to be so difficult because Ukraine's just been a corrupt country for so many years. But if the people are all in on it, and if everybody works together, things can change. So we just got to watch and see what happens. It is safe to travel Ukraine as a solo traveler. Again, I had talked about this a little earlier. I don't recommend it. It's an individual choice. If you're going there to meet somebody and they're going to be there, and it's for sure, okay, going solo is fine. If not, I would find somebody. There's some guys that from different countries that are actually living in Ukraine, and they and actually in I think two of them are in the Odessa area. One of them kind of goes all over, but they're if you hook up with them, they're willing to help you. They'll meet you. They'll show you around. They'll introduce you. They'll do, it's like a personal tour guide. But going solos, unless you understand the language, you understand the culture, it's going to be very difficult. And as a foreigner, you're going to be a target. So you just got to be careful of where you're going, and it's not for everybody, for sure. But yeah, solos. That's one. Like I said, I don't recommend it unless you have somebody that's going to be there to help you around for the first time. And then after that, you can decide, oh, hey, now I know what to do, and I'm not afraid to go on my own. So since we're discussing infrastructure, don't forget about crumbling 100-year-old bridges in the U.S. Yeah. Well, there again, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to say goodbye now. I hope this video was informative for you, and hope you enjoyed our conversations. And I really thank you guys for your questions and stuff. That made it a lot more fun and easy to do this. But again, just please keep an eye out for me. I'm going to plan on doing some of these presentations once a week, and I'm going to touch on different subjects. So here's a couple more things here. There's no comparison to the U.S. infrastructure. U.S. dirt roads are better than the roads outside of Ukraine cities. Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so anyway, I really, again, I thank you guys for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you again next week, and we'll have a different topic to talk about, and I look forward again to your questions. So again, thank you again, and bye-bye.